The Catholic Morning Show.
Thanks for joining us here on the Catholic Morning Show. Deacon Mark Campbell, grateful to be with you here this morning. As we start the week, the 7th week of Easter, sandwiched in between the Feast of the Ascension and the Feast of Pentecost. We'll have more on these great feasts as we go out throughout the week. But right now, we'll turn to our first guest of the day, Dr. Dan Ryan, president of Dowling Catholic High School. Good morning, Doctor.
Morning, Mark. How are you today?
I'm doing very well. The storms that rumbled through didn't disturb my sleep too much. I was grateful that our son turned off the weather siren because he said, "Hey, we've all got phones. If there's an immediate need, we can respond that way." But as the week is going to unfold, you guys got a special event coming up. But let's first just give our listeners a little bit of a recap on where things started on this expansion at Dowling Catholic High School, where things are at today, and then we'll get to what's coming up this week. Tell us a little bit about the expansion project itself.
Well, all of this started actually about 5 years ago. We knew there needed to be some updates to the campus and to match the needs of our student population, and it turned into a campaign focused on student life and safety. As you mentioned earlier, it's a $76 million campaign, but it's which is rather large, but it's about a 50-year vision. And we're really looking to create one entrance for our students so we have greater safety there. There'll be a storm shelter, which is appropriate to talk about this time of year. Update our kitchen and expand that with a dining area and add a common space. We're also going to be able to use that storm shelter as an auxiliary gym, and then that final piece will be a new arena for varsity sports and school masses.
Well, and some of these things you've talked about, and I would say the dining area in particular is one that kind of stood out to me when I was at the unveiling of the project. That there's areas that have been relatively unchanged for decades there at Dowling Catholic High School. So these enhancements, these improvements to student life, some would say are long overdue.
I would agree with that. There's been a lot of changes in Des Moines over the last 50 years, and quite honestly, the kitchen is relatively the same. The dining room is exactly the same, and we are a little crowded in there, and sometimes students get done getting their food, and they only have 7 minutes left to eat, so that's a little difficult. So we're trying to make it a little bit of a better environment for them, and that goes into some of those spaces around like athletic practices. Unfortunately, we often have students here to 9 or 9:30 at night practicing, and we really want to expand that space so that the school day can be shortened and they can get home and maybe have dinner with their family or do their homework and be in bed by 10 or 10:30 instead of midnight.
Yeah, that's I can imagine a lot of students that are there now are maybe a little bit envious of what's to come as this project comes to completion. So let's talk about this 50-year vision, as you talked about. In Des Moines, metro area has changed quite a bit. You guys have growing enrollment over there. Talk about the importance of looking to the future as you guys have made these plans.
Well, as the only Catholic high school in Des Moines at this point, we really thought we needed to understand if this campus was viable for another 50 years. And we feel that it is. That's included, though, some expansion. We've purchased some houses adjoining us on 17th Street, and 4 of those have been removed, and parking will be put into those places. So we'll gain overall about 100 parking spaces. And when you think about the fact that probably the average drive to our high school is 15 to 25 minutes, we're not a neighborhood high school. And so like having a common space, which is a little bit softer, like a small college and a union feel, gives them a place to kind of be during those downtimes or meet students after school to do those academic projects, and then even get something to eat after school. We have students coming from Ankeny now. If you have practice at 4:30, you're not going home in between. So it kind of gives them a place to sit, be safe, get something productive done, and then go to whatever event it is they have. Plus, we have over 40 clubs, and they need places to meet, including Survey Feed'em, which is now a discipleship group for our students, which has over 500 students in it this year. So that's a third of the student body.
Well, that's and again, talking about this common space, and I'd say you're right. The renderings of that space really do make it feel not only a safe, comfortable environment, but has a little bit of a college campus feel. So talk about that aspect when you go out and you're making this pitch to donors, because to support a project of this magnitude, you can't rely on the parents in the current student body. They're already paying tuition. Talk about some of the selling points as you've gone out and asked for support for this project.
We're very fortunate that we've had many great people in this building serving our students for decades, and even prior to this location, both at St. Joseph's Academy and at the old Dowling. So we've really benefited from that. Just Friday, I was in Omaha talking to an alumni, and he talked about how much of an influence this had on his life, and as he formed a family business and has expanded that. And so that is really one of the great touch points, that they want that same experience for other students. And again, even if they're not in the city, they want that mission fulfilled, because they know, A, it's great for those students, but it's good for our faith, and it's good for our state and our city. And I think they want to be a part of that vision to help create the future.
And you're talking about not just preparing students for college, with a campus that has a little bit of that feel to it. You guys are really zeroed in on preparing people for a life, and a life of faith as they go out into the workforce. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, our vision is that we prepare leaders for life centered on Christ, and that every student will discover and cultivate their God-given talent to make positive change in the world. We're hoping to inspire our students with that vision. But honestly, we want them to walk out with their faith. We want them to stay active in their faith through their college years. We are attempting to measure that. That's a little difficult. But it also goes into that academic, which is our ultimate goal overall, is college graduation rates. And we're right up there. About 80% of our students are doing that in 4 to 6 years. I think it's important to also understand the changes in our student demographics. We have many more first-generation college students than we would have had 20 years ago. About 33% of our students are diverse. So in some situations, that rigor really might just be going to DMAC and community college, and for others, it might be going to a Notre Dame or something along those lines. And we've really worked to adjust our curriculum and our staffing to match both of those needs, because we feel that's what the students deserve.
We're talking with President Dr. Dan Ryan from Dowling Catholic High School about the expansion project that is getting ready to break ground. And so to give our listeners an update on where things stand. As you said, this started over 5 years ago, launched officially last fall. Where do things stand today for for this project?
So we've raised just a little bit over $45 million at this point, but we're going to share some good news tomorrow, but I'll hold off on that for now.
Come on. We're here for live breaking news. Come on. Give us the inside.
The groundbreaking is at noon here on campus. It's open to the public, so anybody wants to come. But after that, we'll be putting some things out on that and some advancements we've made there. But, this is really going to start the construction on the west side of campus, and with the parking, and something people don't think about a lot is utilities. HVAC and electrical we kind of take for granted, but a lot of those things are needing updated. So we're going to be bringing in some redundant services. So campus is going to look very different over the summer. We need to get our parking in place so we can start school on time, and I think we can do that. And then they'll be moving in, pulling that in closer to the building as school starts, and they'll be working on a new loading dock, storm shelter. Then the summer after that, they'll really jump into the new entrance, that common space, and then the dining areas. And that'll be an intense summer in 27 to get all of those things done and ready so we can have school begin on time then as well. And then the last thing we'll be working on is that arena overall.
And that's very exciting stuff. So groundbreaking tomorrow at noon at the Dowling campus there, and more news to follow as Dr. Dan Ryan previewed there. How long is 27 the target end date, or what? How long would this do you expect the project to last?
I would say construction is going to go at least 24 months. It could go longer, depending on weather and other aspects of it. But we think that it's very possible to do all this in 24 to 28 months. And so that would get us ready, I think, for the summer. Would that be the beginning of the 28th school year? I have to think ahead here a little bit.
That's all right. It's all just one step at a time. And as an expanding radio network, we know how these timelines sort of work.
Yes, you do.
And especially when you're forced to go out and again sell a project. Talk about the impact that it will have, not only on the immediate need, but the long-term need, which I think you guys have done so well in presenting the impact that Dowling Catholic High School has had and will continue to have, especially with these enhanced facilities. Doctor, when you took the job, I believe in 2017, was this something that you thought you would oversee, or have you ever overseen something of this magnitude?
I've been involved in some construction projects in different parts of the state, but not to this magnitude. Honestly, I wouldn't have thought it would have been this large. But what really changed my mind, for example, on doing the arena was when I could see the fact that, there could be 4 to 5 boys basketball teams and they could all practice at once. If they practiced from 3:30 to 5:30 and then the girls were 5:30 to 7:30, that's a much better result than getting done at 8:30 or 9. And I can say that from my own children's experience. Some things that people may take for granted, there's just the number of locker rooms. Unfortunately, some of our teams never get a locker room. My daughter played soccer here and never had a locker for her athletic facility, for her athletic activities. So I think it just basically have the basic respect for our students that they have the appropriate facilities to do what they need to. And then when visitors come, often we're putting 3 or 4 of their teams in one locker room, which is, just not really going to work anymore in today's society. So we're just trying to upgrade those things so that we kind of have a level playing field.
Well, Dr. Ryan, congratulations to you to reaching this portion of it. Continued prayers for the success of the project. If people are not able to make the groundbreaking tomorrow or want to stay sort of in tune, or maybe they want to contribute to this enhancement to the Dowling Catholic High School campus, where can people learn more about it?
They can go to our website at www.dowlingcatholic.org, and there's a campaign button on the top right that they can click on to learn more about that or to make a donation.
He's Dr. Dan Ryan, president of Dowling Catholic High School. Always grateful that you make time to join us here on the Catholic Morning Show. And I'll reiterate again, prayers for you guys as you continue on the path of completing this exciting project, which, again, will not only enhance the students there, but also enhance our community as you guys continue to form leaders for Christ. Thanks so much, Dr. Dan Ryan.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
Listen to the Catholic Morning Show weekdays at 7 a.m. Central on the Iowa Catholic Radio Network, iowacatholicradio.com, or the Iowa Catholic Radio app.